Goomy! What is up, guys? Steven here, and today I'm going to be bringing you some ZU on Pokemon Showdown live. I'm just going to briefly cover what I talked about in my channel update video. So I am going to be uploading again on a consistent basis. On Monday nights, I'll be uploading something Pokemon related, whether that be Sword and Shield in-game, Pokemon Showdown live, laddering on Sword and Shield itself. It can be either a live or a post-commentary, but it will be Pokemon related. Friday nights, I'll be uploading something non-Pokemon related. And what that is currently going to be is NCAA Football 2014. Definitely into college football, and I'm going to be uploading one game, a week, kind of following the real-life schedule. And I've set it up that way so it'll end right around the time the national championship happens, so I can move into another series for that Friday slot. So definitely going to be uploading again way more consistently, twice a week. Excited to bring content to you guys again. And let's talk a little bit about this team and talk about ZU in general. So ZU is 0 used, which is below PU. And it's an unofficial tier. It's not actually an official tier on Smogon, but I've really enjoyed it. And it's just usage-based tier below PU. It's got some interesting Pokemon in it, and I've kind of enjoyed it just because it brings you back to your roots a little bit of team building. So this team is actually pretty interesting. I probably need to change the EVs on this Dunsparce. I've just been too lazy to do it, and it'll probably come back to bite me in this video. So it's set up currently. It's basically a lead HO Dunsparce, and there are two Pokemon in the game that learn Glare and Stealth Rock, and they're Druddigon and Dunsparce. Druddigon is actually pretty neat as an HO lead and OU. It gets other tools that Dunsparce doesn't get, like Taunt, but Ice Beam is really good in this tier because common things that can lead against Dunsparce are just common Stealth Rockers or things like Golem and Torterra, and you can really pressure them with Ice Beam. Currently, the EVs are set up to outspeed Swanna after Paralysis, so you can just glare it and then click Stealth Rock. And so it's just a lead HO-mon. The team is somewhat based around Paralysis HO, which I think is really underrated. And Paralysis, although it did get nerfed a little bit with the T-Wave accuracy drop, as well as only halving speed instead of quartering speed. Paralysis is still really good just because it lets you to outspeed things that you shouldn't have before, as well as just giving you opportunities for free turns, which is just really gross when you're using offense, because a free turn can just win you the game. So next I have Swanna, and I'm running Z Mirror Move. So what's neat about this set is you can kind of use it in multiple ways. So Z Mirror Move gives you +2 attack and then uses a Z move of the last thing that the opponent used. So it's pretty neat in that you can dodge Sucker Punch with it and then actually hit them with a +2 Dark Hole Eclipse. So this allows you to check things that have Sucker that are at low HP very reliably and getting +2 at the same time. Alternatively, you can still use the Flyinian Z on Brave Bird and just nuke something in the mid to late game depending on really what the situation you're in. So I like the flexibility that this set provides. And Physical Swanna is better to me than Special Swanna in this tier, although they're both really, really good. Swanna is probably the premier Pokemon in this tier. Currently, Shiftry is being suspected, but I think Swanna is probably a better Pokemon overall. So this is Sawsbuck. So kind of pairing along with the Paralysis theme. I'm running Serene Grace Headbutt. So this kind of allows you opportunities to get free turns with Substitute and to para-flinch opponents. Sawsbuck is in a pretty good speed tier, 95. There is pretty crowded in this tier, with Silvally being very common at that speed tier and Electivire at that speed tier. But with the help of Paralysis, you can outspeed a lot of things, and it kind of helps you to wear down Stall, just in terms of, getting one sub and Swords Dance up is fairly easy against a lot of the Pokemon that are on Stall, like Marini is fairly common. And you can set up on that and beat down your opponent, and Horn Leech helps it to beat Pyukumuku, which is kind of the premier stopper to the setup mons in the tier. So next I've got Silvally Ground, which is kind of an interesting pick. Scarf Electivire is really common in this tier, and it's probably Swanna, Shiftry, and Evire are probably the three best mons in the tier. So Silvally Ground is nice in that it kind of provides me a blanket check to several things that are pretty threatening to the team in general. One being Scarf Evire, because my own Scarf Evire isn't necessarily a great switch in, and this kind of gives me the core of Electric Immune, Earthquake Answer, and it just helps ease prediction against Scarf Evire. Got T-Wave on it, multi-attack, which this Silvally also kind of helps the team with like Rapidash and Combuskin, just with the natural bulk that it has. And it provides Defog, which is sometimes necessary for particularly teams with like Toxic Spikes are pretty annoying to face. So this can help with that, and it is the U-turn part of the Volt Turn core with my own Scarf Evire. So this is kind of the set that every Scarf Evire should be running in my mind. Sometimes you'll see Cross Chop or Flamethrower, but I don't think really those moves help as much as the utility of Volt Switch. Just with being able to keep momentum and the loss in Spadef is not very noticeable for the most part. And again, it's in a really good speed tier. Pretty much the only Scarfers that'll outspeed you will be Scarf Swanna, which is fairly uncommon, but also can't really touch you that much. So Scarf Evire is great in this tier, and they kind of form like a Garavire core with Swanna, and it's very nice offensively. Then finally, I have kind of a set that I invented a couple teams ago that I really enjoyed, and I'll probably optimize the EVs for Paralysis a bit on this, but this is just what I've got currently. So this is Stallbreaker Pawniard. So it's no Iron Head, so it doesn't actually benefit from the para-flinch that you would expect on this team, but it does have Taunt, which is great. So what that basically allows me to do is to taunt things that will either want to wisp me or things like that, and also taunt Pyukumuku, which will prevent it from soaking me and toxicking me, or really doing anything, because the only attacking move it has ever is Counter, which is very rare in this tier. So, yep, that's the team, and I'm going to search, and I'll be back when we get one. Alright guys, we got a game. We're facing Sun. So this is a pretty difficult matchup for the team, as our only fire resist, I guess, is Swanna, that actually gets outsped by Rapidash, and it can just go for Wild Charge, and we just don't have a lot for this. So I'm gonna lead Sawsbuck in an attempt to prevent Sun, at least in the meantime, by going for Headbutt once and flinching, and we do get that. So I kind of want to predict switch here, and we actually get that right. So I can just glare this turn and glare something, as Dunsparce will freely get up rocks right now, and we're actually in a pretty decent position. So I'm going to go hard Swanna and kind of do what I talked about earlier, where I can just fire off a +2 Bloom Doom into him for free, and I actually eat that up relatively well. So that could have been a lot worse. Scarf Evire doesn't help a ton, so he's probably going to set up the Sun here. Yep, with Volbeat, and there's not too much I can do about that. I'm just going to Brave Bird and sack that away, and then I can go Sawsbuck here. If he ends up going Rapidash, that's okay, because his only Sunsetter that's left is the Onix. Potentially the... Okay, so this is not great for us. So he does just Inferno Overdrive, but this gives us a chance to make some plays. I'm just going to Earthquake the Onix, and he's probably Heat Rock, if I had to guess. But he's Custap Rocks. Okay. That's fine too. So Shiftry comes in. I'm just gonna go Poniard. I have 3 turns I need to waste here. So I did respectable damage, honestly. So we ate it up. We got rid of his Life Orb, and I can... Alright. So now my end game is to just attempt to win with Silvally. Okay. That worked out pretty decently, honestly. I doubt he has... Well, he's already used Sucker. So I'm just gonna multi-attack. So I'm starting to wonder if if he goes Eggy, the best play is probably to T-Wave it. Because he'll click Sunny Day if he goes into that. Like, that's what he has if he goes into it. And then, because he'll be Solar Beam, so I can U-turn, sack, and then win with this against his last, assuming I live a Flare Blitz. Okay? So really it doesn't matter, I can just EQ, this is all the same. If I hadn't lost my Scarf, then I'd be in a great position. So let's just hope we live. He did burn his Z move. See Morning Suns, and we actually just take it out. So awesome. Getting a win there. Let's actually get one more game. That was a tough matchup. We got a little lucky with the flinch, but let's get one more. Alright, so here we are in a game. Looking at his team, a little worried about Komala. Sawsbuck can be annoying if it's Scarf. I've got decent answers to Zebstrika in Silvally Ground, and Evire can revenge it. So I'm just going to leave Dunsparce. As they lead Probo, I'm just going to clear it because I can. It gives me an opportunity to get some luck, which is always great. He just gets up his rocks, which is fine. I can also get up my rocks. And I'm just going to go hard Silvally here. So he actually gets paralyzed 2 turns in a row, which is just great for us. And he's sturdy, which is fine. As I'm just going to take out this Probo. This is one of the few things that really is stopping me from clicking Brave Bird. So I'm really pleased with that outcome. In comes Sawsbuck. I'm just going to U-turn out. He actually Horn Leeches. So I don't know if he's Scarf or not. But looking at his team, he's probably either Scarf Basculin or Scarf this. So I'm just going to Brave Bird straight up. So he switched out, so definitely Scarf, or not Scarf, and we end up in a fine position there. I considered going Evire because he knew I would die to that, so it was kind of a safe play for him to make, but it's okay. So now I can weaken this Komala, and I don't really see much value in saving Dunsparce. So now I can just kill this Komala off with Sawsbuck, and we're in an okay position. His Brave Bird switch-ins are pretty limited, but he's definitely just going to click Overheat here, which is a little menacing. And unfortunately, the roll puts it into a position where I can only switch into Stealth Rocks one more time. So I'm going to double predicting Volbeat as I actually get that correct. And I can Sky Strike it. And that's gone. So that's awesome. Alright, Zebstrika comes back in. I'm just going to jet this because I really want this gone, as I actually get fairly lucky with the roll, but then unlucky with the crit, so that evens out, I suppose. So now I can go Evire and just Wild Charge. So these are normally banded, so I'm just going to Headbutt, anticipating him to go into a Sap Sipper Sawsbuck. I get that correct. And Basculin comes back in and liquidates. Does a million, but I take it and get the kill. So, alright guys, thank you so much. I'm really excited to get back into uploading again. I hope you guys enjoyed this upload. Please leave comments about what you thought of this and what you think of my new upload schedule. It's going to be consistent, and I'm really excited. So have a good night, guys. Peace.